Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today I would like to prepare a coconut flavored coffee cake with pineapple preserve. When I was growing up in Poland, we did not have that many exotic fruit. The first time I had a banana, it was heaven in my mouth, and then the pineapple. I still remember that day when I first tasted it. So coconut and pineapple are actually my favorite exotic fruit to connect together. So this coffee cake is special for me because these are my flavors that I like. That would be a layered coffee cake. So the crust would go on the bottom, and then the pineapple preserve, then crust again, coconut meringue, and some crumbly crust on top. Welcome to my kitchen, and thank you for watching. For the coconut pineapple cake, I will need 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, which is about 500 grams, 1.5 sticks of butter, 2 tablespoons of sour cream, 3 egg yolks, and save the egg whites for the meringue, coconut meringue on the end, 1 cup of sugar, which should be about 220 grams, a little bit of vanilla sugar, a jar of pineapple preserve, and 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Additionally, I will need 200 grams of coconut flakes and 2/3 of a cup of sugar. And the coconut flakes, I blended a little bit more. I have about 200 grams of them, and I chose unsweetened because if I make meringue, I need lots of sugar for the egg whites. If I used sweetened coconut flakes, it would be too much sugar. So pay attention to the package so you don't overdo it with the sweetness. Of course, first thing to do is make that crust. So flour with a pinch of salt, 1.5 sticks of butter, sugar, those egg yolks, sour cream, and here is another option. Depending how much you like coconut flavor, you can incorporate some of those coconut flakes in that dough itself, or you can leave it the way it is. Just put some vanilla sugar and mix it all up. I'm going to use some vanilla sugar and a tiny bit of coconut flakes also. I would say 1/4 of a cup. Not too much, just a little bit to give that coconutty flavor to it. And then just mix it all up. My butter was taken out of the fridge only 15 minutes ago, so it's still pretty cold. Once all of this is blended, mixed together, I will come and show you the consistency. At first, it will be a little bit crumbly because the butter was colder, but after a few minutes, it will become one nice solid piece. And here it is, nice, soft, silky dough. Now I will need to divide this into 3 pieces. So I have cut it to 3 different parts. The bottom would be the biggest, and for me that would equal to 415 grams. Then the middle part, 350, and then the top, I have it at 300. The biggest part will go on the bottom, and I will use a roller to roll it out, flatten it. This will go in the fridge to make it cold, and that will go in the middle of my cake. So here is another option. The middle part, if you did not put coconut flakes because you don't care for it, but maybe you like chocolate flavor, you can add 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. That way you will have a layer of vanilla and chocolate and vanilla again, just to make it more interesting. If not, leave it the way it is. This will need to get cold. Those 2 I will need to wrap and put it either in the fridge or freezer. I need those pieces cold so I can shred them on my cake. Well, since freezer is faster, those will go into freezer. And my bottom part, I will roll out. And once it's rolled, I will need to put that piece in a baking sheet. Since I have a coconut flavored cake, I used some coconut oil on the bottom before I put baking sheet on. This is ready, and I would like to pre-bake this crust, the bottom crust, for about 12 minutes at 365. But additionally, I like to put some holes with the fork so the crust is more airy. So now, when I'm waiting for this to be ready, I can start preparing meringue. And now time for the coconut meringue. So I have 3 egg whites in here with a pinch of salt. And I will start beating those, adding more speed for about a minute and a half. And then every minute I would add 1 tablespoon of sugar until all of that sugar is in there. So meringue is almost ready. Last step is to add the coconut flakes. I have about 150 grams of coconut flakes. So a little bit more than half the package. Package usually is about 220. Gently fold in the coconut flakes. And this is ready. Also, the base is ready, so now I can put it all together. Pineapple preserve. Okay, I have spread out the pineapple preserve, and now time for the second layer of the crust. Okay, nice and cold, and I will just shred it on top of the pineapple. And maybe to make it easier, I will shred on a piece of board, and that way I can distribute the dough evenly. Okay, so first layer, and now time for meringue with the coconut. This is done, and the last part is to shred a piece of that crust on top. Okay, that beauty is ready to go in the oven at 350 for about 50 minutes. We'll see you in 50 minutes. Time to take it out. 50 minutes to be exact. And it looks great. Smells amazing. What you want?
I want the cake.
A little bit longer.
Can I eat it?
Guys, you have to wait. Once it cools off, I will cut a piece. Guys, it's hot. It's hot.
I want it.
I would like to let you know why I am a big fan of using scale instead of the cups. I do put measurements in cups so it's easier. As you know, I'm from Europe, so everything for me is in grams. And here in United States, any recipes you have is usually in cups. But I want you to pay attention to one thing. So take it as a tip. I learned by mistakes because I've done it before. So I have put together a flour, the same flour, all-purpose flour, into the same measuring cups. Exactly 2 cups in here and exactly 2 cups in here. But I want to measure it using the scale and show you if there is a difference and how much of a difference it can be. So here is the first 2 cups of flour, as you can see, 2 cups. And here is exactly 2 cups, all around, no cheating. And I will turn on, and there's nothing here, my scale, so it's set to 0. Maybe I should show you. So it's set to 0, if you can see. Okay, and I will put the first 2 cups in, and it says it is 248 grams. So now I will take this into a different cup, and it's empty. Put it back, it comes back to 0. And now the other 2 cups, all of it. And this one is 314. So now you can see that 2 cups are not created equal, right? They do not measure on a scale the same. So why is that? Well, it's all about handling the flour. If we are gentle with it, the flour is fluffy, is light, and then 2 cups, nice fluffy flour. If you handle the flour, shake it, kind of bang it, on the surface somewhere, it loses its volume because it becomes dense. So you keep adding to have exactly 2 cups, right? Well, but it's much more heavier. It's much more flour that you need. So if you ever had a cake and you tried to follow the measurements and directions and the cake wasn't quite the way you hoped, it wasn't as fluffy, it wasn't as delicate, it wasn't as soft, well, maybe because there was too much flour. So it's just a tip, and I hope you will find it helpful to kind of pay attention to how we handle flours. I know how it is when you bake something and you put your heart into it, time into it, and then it doesn't come out the way you hope for. And it's frustrating. So I hope this helps. Thank you for watching.